All right, let's introduce our teams. Starting with the away team. I'm going to step up to the line here and I'll introduce you. All right, folks, it's a well-known fact that the louder you cheer, the more noise you make, the more hand clapping you make, the better they play. So show them some love. Your away team for this second game, all the way from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Pile of Bones Derby Club. What? Regina, I'm sorry. The internet lied to me today. The internet lies. Don't trust the Googles. Anyway, starting in no particular order, with number 10, Havoc. Followed by number 11, Rollaby. And number 28, Tempest Storm. Number 30, Anti-Authority. Number 44, Parks and Rec. Number 55, C3PO. Number 80, Cindy Dropper. Number 421, one of your captains, Lucy Lockbox. Followed by number 456, Tornator. Your other captain, number 711, Scarlet O'Neillia. And number 741, Captain Crunch. Followed by number 868, Rockabetty Page. And last but certainly not least, number 999, Desi Deathwish. Once again, give it up for the gals from Regina, the Gravediggers. Did I get everybody? Good. All right, Jim, let's introduce the hometown.
And because I want to make sure we continue with the tradition, all the way from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Just kidding. Calgary.
All the way
Your
from
Cutthroat Carhops. Starting with number 5, Winsome Brewsome. Number 8, Rollover Jean. Number 17, celebrating her brand new TV show, Sailor Moonshine. Number 21, Novel Blonde. Number 24, Mama Rowe. Number 29, Slamazon. Number 30, Front Page Bruise. Number 32, Lucy Flawless. Number 60, Danger Cat. Number 98, Ruin. 265, Andy Linquent. And number 808, Non-Stick Pam. Ladies and gentlemen, your Cutthroat Carhops. So we're going to start off with the Battle of the Lucys. We got Lucy Flawless for the Carhops up against Lucy Lockbox for the Gravediggers.
Interesting, both teams put their captains out for this very first jam. Lucy Flawless with the first lead jam, first tracks as it were for the Cutthroat Carhops here in this game. Pack moving very quickly as it passes corner 3 and 4. Lucy Flawless making a hop, skip, and a jump, and a natural grand slam. 5 points up on the board for Lucy Flawless. First tracks for the Cutthroat Carhops. Lucy Lockbox not too far behind. Four more and tap it out for Lucy Flawless on the Cutthroat Carhops. That's 9 points up on the board in that first jam.
Still too easy to call this one, or too early to call, sorry. 9-0, I mean, it looks like a shutout, but I still think it could go either way.
You're a wise man, Jim. Very wise man.
I went to the DeVry Institute of Technology, so I think I know. Novel Blonde lining up against Anti-Authority.
Do they pay you to say that, or do they pay you not to say that you went to?
I think they generally would just prefer if I shut up, but they don't have the money left to pay anyone now.
Novel Blonde with another lead jam. Anti-Authority right behind her decides to call it off.
You know, her name just speaks to me. Anti-Authority. That's awesome.
Wonder if she has a sister named Anti-Establishment.
Be a weird family, wouldn't it? Or just pasta. Mama Rowe lining up against Rocka Betty Page.
Mama Rowe with the Cutthroat Carhops, normally with the B-52 Bellas, one of your other CRDA house teams. And another power jam for the Cutthroat Carhops as Mama Rowe breaks through the pack over the pivot line.
Rocket Booty Page also through the pack. Mama Rowe picking up 4 points. And calling off the jam. All sneaky like. Gotta say, some of my favorite people have been grave diggers. Thinking specifically of the scene from Macbeth.
Wow, a Shakespeare reference.
I'm not just a pretty face because I'm not actually a pretty face. Lucy Lockbox up against Danger Cat.
Danger Cat's first time putting on the star helmet cover in this game. Another lead jam for the Cutthroat Carhops. That makes it 4 in a row for this team. Four, 5, 6 Tornator headed to the penalty box for Gravediggers. Danger Cat with 4 points up on the board for the Cutthroat Carhops decides to tap her hips and call it off.
Welcome to my breakdown. I hope I didn't scare you.
Both teams changing it up a little bit. We've got Rollaby and Rollover Gene. Both roll names in there up to the jam line this time.
Sweat and laugh and scream, yeah.
Rollover Gene getting forced to the outside by Scarlet O'Nalia, forcing her back behind the pivot line.
Rollover Gene picks up lead jam. Rollaby makes her way through the pack as well. Both teams eligible to score some points. Three points there picked up by the Carhops, 1 point for the Gravediggers.
First points up on the board there for the Gravediggers actually in that jam, in Jam 5. We're starting Jam 6 with Lucy Flawless and Anti-Authority at the jam line. Lucy Flawless eking around the outside at the pivot line, picks up lead jam. That is the 6th lead jam in a row for the Carhops as they start this game.
Win some, bruise some, making Anti-Authority scramble to the back of the pack. Meanwhile, Flawless picks up 5 points for the Carhops. Flawless picking up another 5 points.
Win some, bruise some with a cut truck penalty. Going to spend some time in the penalty box. That's going to give Gravediggers the 5-on-4 advantage at this point. But Lucy Flawless with another 5 points on the board. Natural grand slam as Gravediggers still yet to have their initial pass.
Some excellent blocking there. Notably at the end there, Slamazon was tying Anti-Authority up quite well. But she's now through the pack. And Flawless calls off the jam, grabbing 2 more points for the Carhops.
This score with 23 minutes left to play in the first half. 37 points up on the board for the Cutthroat Carhops. Gravediggers with 1. Still very early in this first half.
Non-stick Pam lining up against Rocka Betty Page. And if you're a fan of Betty Page, probably want to stick around, catch the burlesque. Just saying.
So true. Non-stick Pam, her first time up to jam and her first lead of this game. Non-stick Pam facing shoulder hits from C3PO and Scarlet Onelia, only holding her back temporarily as she picks up another 5 points and a natural grand slam.
Rocka Betty Page making her way through. She had some real solid hits there from Winsome Brewsome just at the end, but undeterred, made her way through the pack. Meanwhile, Carhops pick up 2 more points.
Lucy Lockbox back up to the jam line for her 3rd time in this first half. Front Page Brews now taking this star panty for her first time for the Carhops in this game.
I gotta say, every time I hear Star Panty, I just think of like it's some kind of weird Japanimation thing, right? You have the Star Panty. Front Page Brews picks up lead jam.
Andy Lincoln and Lucy Flawless keeping Lucy Lockbox at bay in corners 3 and 4. Forcing her to the outside, Andy Lincoln brings her all the way back behind the jam line.
Front Page Brews taking some big hits. Grabs 5 points for the Carhops. And looks like Lucy Lockbox is going to make her way to the penalty box for a cut track penalty. That's going to give the Carhops a power jam as Front Page Brews does a little sneaky skating to get through, grabbing 5 points.
Making it look easy. Front Page Brews picking up another 5 points.
They were not going to let her get away with that one quite so easy that time, that's for sure. And it looks like Front Page got called for cutting the track.
No, a low block penalty.
Oh, was it a low block? Sorry.
Yeah, what happens is when she falls, if somebody falls over top of her, she takes the penalty for it. So unfortunately, she tried to go for the hip tap, and it was a little too late because the low block call happened right before it. So
my bad. I thought I saw the X. That's the telltale sign of a
No
cut track,
worries.
but my bad. Not my first time making a boo-boo.
yeah, sometimes the rules are funny that way, in that somebody who's got momentum all of a sudden happens to take a fall. Somebody trips over top of her, completely unintentional, but it gives you the disadvantage temporarily. So
It's ultimately all about safety, right?
absolutely.
So we're 3-on-2, quite a small pack right now. Anti-Authority getting the power start.
Thought we might have a timeout there. It didn't happen. We got 3 Carhops in the penalty box, 1 Gravedigger in the penalty box. It's a 4-on-2. My math ain't so good.
Yeah, too late.
Both jammers back on the track now. And the first lead jam for the Gravediggers in this game, Anti-Authority picking that up. Anti-Authority coming around the outside in corner 2, facing off against Front Page Brews. It's 4-4. Both teams picking up those points. Anti-Authority has that lead jam. She has the ability to call it off.
And call it off she does. 2 points there picked up by the Carhops on that last lap.
Ronka Betty Page taking the jam line for the 3rd time in this game. Danger Cat, her 2nd time up to the jam line, lead jam last time.
Andy Linquin forcing Ronka Betty Page to the outside. Looks like Danger Cat's been called on a
Back block.
back block, yep.
Yeah, unfortunately, she won't be able to pick up lead in this one. It's up to Ronka Betty Page now. Take the lead jam position for the Gravediggers.
Andy Linquin making her work for it. And Ronka Betty Page picks up lead jam.
3 times the charm. Lead jam for her in her 3rd time up to the jam line. Big hits on Mama Rowe and Andy Linquin as she tries to break through that wall.
And there's 5 points picked up by Ronka Betty Page. Danger Cat, meanwhile, is also through the pack on her initial scoring round. Non-scoring round, I suppose I said that wrong. Sucks.
That wall of white at the front, Tornado and Havoc keeping Danger Cat at bay.
So the Carhops pick up 3 points that time, 2 points for the Gravediggers. Rollover Jean jamming for the Carhops. She's taking on Cindy Dropper for the Gravediggers.
This is Cindy Dropper's first time to the jam line. Rollover Jean with the lead jam this time. Cindy Dropper getting pushed to the outside.
Rollover Jean having her hands full with Tempest Storm. And I think that's Captain Crunch. And Rollover getting called on that cut track. She's going to spend some time in the penalty box. That's going to make this a power jam.
Nova Blonde and Lucy Flawless doing their best to keep Cindy Dropper, forcing her back numerous times, almost back into corner 2. She tried to eke through in that corner. It didn't pay off for her. She got a cut track penalty, as it turned out. That's going to leave Rollover Jean with the power jam position. And 5 more points up on the board for the Cutthroat Carhops.
And there's 5 more for the Carhops, and the jam gets called.
Mama Rose with the power start. If she can make it through cleanly, she will have the lead jam and a power jam position. Cindy Dropper still in the penalty box from the last jam. And Mama Rose with the lead, making her way around. Mama Rose good at stirring up the crowd.
She's a bit of a poop disturber as she picks up 5 points for the Carhops.
Pack now moving into corners 1 and 2. Another 5 points up on the board for Mama Rowe. 12 minutes and 35 seconds left to play in this first half.
Mama Rowe punching a hole through, picking up another 5 points. And again, 5 more points for the Carhops.
Carhops now passing the century mark, sitting at 100 points before the end of Jam 12. Another 5 up on the board for Mama Rowe as she decides to call it off. 11 minutes and 50 seconds left to play in the first half. The score, 105 for the Carhops, 12 points for the Grave Diggers.
And we've got ourselves an official timeout. This is the point where we would normally run a beer commercial. So let me remind you about our fabulous beer gardens.
The $5 beer garden.
$5 beer garden. It actually says $5 beer garden, everything $5, not like your dollar store. They've got Wild Rose Raspberry Ale, Natural Born Keller Velvet Fog. They've also got the Palm Bay Kiwi Lime Cherry, the Palm Bay Strawberry Pineapple, Okanagan Cider, and the Dickens Booth. Everybody wins with a Dickens booth. So if you're feeling thirsty and of the legal age to engage in the alcohol, by all means, head on over and pick up some beers. Huge thanks to Wild Rose Brewery for being our liquor friends.
Yes, absolutely. Want to also thank our sponsors, Rad Printing, Dennis Plintz and Associates. Scoreboard provided by Tech Consulting and Systems. Thank you also to Demon Eyes Clothing, Carrie's Closet, Nerd Roller Skates, Rollergirl.ca, Wicked Skatewear. The Bouncy Castle today is provided by Playtime Rentals, and also a thank you to Radar Rentals. Want to also say thank you to our vendors, and folks, you're going to want to head on over to the vendors and check them out before they close up in the second half. You want to say hello to Amanda at the Arbonne table. There's another Amanda, Southhill Designs Jewelry. Megan at Tallulah Lost, pins, patches, and magnets for the Femme Fatales and Fangirl scans.
Lucy Lockbox lining up against Danger Cat. Just really like saying Danger Cat, Stay Puft.
Makes you sound dangerous.
Danger Cat. It's just fun. And Danger Cat gets through, picks up lead jam. Looks like Lucy Lockbox on her way to the penalty box. I did not catch the call. But that's going to make this a Carhops power jam.
I think it may have been a cut track.
5 points picked up there by Danger Cat for the Carhops. But she's got to get through Captain Crunch, C3PO, and Desi Deathwish. Making her sweat for those 5 points. It's an excellent block in that time. Lucy Lockbox is back off the penalty and through the pack for her initial pass. And 2 points picked up for the Carhops, none for the Gravediggers on that last pass.
There's a few other vendors you might want to go and say hello to. Demon Eyes actually aren't here today, but they are usually here. I want to talk to the folks at the Dog Rescue. Burlesque Size is in the house, of course. They've got a demo coming up in about 10 minutes or so. All Stars and Carhops merch, as well as B-52 Bellas and Lassie's merch at the CRDA table.
And I do believe the Gravediggers and Pile of Bones also have some merch set up. Always a good idea to support the out-of-town teams.
And don't forget, of course, the CRDA bake sale for your sweet tooth.
Novel Blonde picks up lead jam.
Nonstick
Meanwhile,
Pam picked up a penalty. I think her first time in the penalty box today.
Slamazon getting called on the low block there. Novel Blonde grabs 4 points and right on Rockabetty Page's heels. Rockabetty Page grabbing 4 points for the Gravediggers. Gravediggers blockers doing a good job of penning Novel Blonde in. Scarlett O'Neillia heading to the penalty box.
I think that might have been a high block penalty, actually. Four points apiece for both teams at the end of that jam. 129 the points for the Cutthroat Carhops, 20 points for the Gravediggers, and 7 minutes and 40 seconds left to play in this first half.
Plenty of time, anything can still happen. Lucy Lockbox back at the jam line up against Mama Rowe. Mama Rowe picking up lead jam. Lucy Lockbox also through the pack. Mama Rowe grabs her 4 points and calls off the jam. Anti-Authority taking on Danger Cat.
Danger Cat with the lead jam this time as she breaks away from the pack in corner 2.
Slamazon making her way to the penalty box. Anti-Authority punches herself a hole, makes it through the pack. Meanwhile, Danger Cat picks up 4 points for the Carhops.
Anti-Authority getting the opening there in the wall from her teammates, but she's got to face off against those gals in teal.
Havoc knocking Danger Cat down there. And she calls off the jam from the prone position. 4 points for the Carhops, 2 points for the Gravediggers. Just over 5 minutes of game time left before our halftime entertainment extravaganza with the burlesque-sized girls. Rollover Jean jamming up against Lucy Lockbox. And Lockbox gets the lead jam. Solid blocking by the Gravediggers. Rollover Jean finally making her way through the pack. They did not make it easy on her, that's for sure.
Pack moving very quickly now past corner 2 and into the stretch. Both jammers with 4 points as they pass corner 4. It's become a bit of a jammer race at this point. Lucy Lockbox in trailing behind decides enough is enough, calls it off. Gravedigger sitting at 26 points. Cutthroat Carhops at 149. Less than 4 minutes left to play. 2, maybe 3 more jams in this first half.
Rocket Betty Page lining up against Lucy Flawless. Lucy Flawless getting called for
Low block, I believe.
block.
Yeah.
And Rocket Betty Page called on a cut track, but told to return to the, or do the long outside lap.
Yeah. If you're past that point of no return, you have to make the lap all the way around. You can't back up to go into the penalty box.
Yeah. Point of no return, that is also the title of my autobiography. I have a lot of autobiographies. So Flawless gets through the pack, but she does not have lead jam because of the penalty. There will be no lead jammer, I do believe, which is going to make this the full 2 minutes. Which probably should be the title of my autobiography, but won't be. 5 points to the Carhops there. And Flawless with another 5 points for the Carhops.
An apex jump by Rocket Betty Page. The crowd likes those ones.
Front page bruise making Rocket Betty Page skate all the way back to the back of the pack. Flawless picking up 5 points.
Pack holding steady in corners 3 and 4. Lucy Flawless trying to look for an opening on the outside. Scarlett O'Nelia and Lucy.
Such an awesome punk rock name. I'm gonna go on about that for like days. Non-stick picks up lead jam. Anti-Authority letting Novel Blonde know as she makes her way through the pack. Rollover Jean on her way to the penalty box. And non-stick Pam calls off the jam, grabbing 4 points for the Carhops.
As we enter the final minute of play, Carhops with a significant lead. Gravedigger sitting at 30 points. We're into jam 20. Coming up very soon, burlesque demonstration. You want to stick around for that. We're going to get started right away in half. And of course, another 30 minutes of regulation rotary play in the second half. Want to see what these teams are going to do in the second half to change up those scores.
I bet it's going to involve hitting each other and skating fast. Andy Linquin using Winsome Brewsome as a weapon up against Rollaby there. Forcing her to the outside. Meanwhile, front page Brews grabs lead jam. Torinator head into the penalty box as Front Page Brews picks up 5 points.
The clock is ticked all the way down. It's at 0. This will be the last jam of our first half.
Front Page Brews picks up a penalty, actually.
High block.
I was going to guess face masking.
Remind me to send you that rules book, Jim.
Awesome. That'd be sweet. Roll-a-by called on a cut track, so she's going to skate to the penalty box, releasing Front Page.
Means we're going to go to the full 2 minutes in this jam. The pack holding and waiting in corner 2. Front Page Brews giving some signals, frantically shaking her right hand to her teammates.
Front Page grabs 5 more points. Nice hit there on Front Page by Havoc. Front Page picking up 5 more points and calling off the jam.
And that's the half. The score, Cutthroat Carhops reaching the 2-century mark, 200 points, 30 points for the Gravediggers. Stick around, folks. We're going to have a burlesque demonstration right away, and we'll be back in about 15 minutes for another 30 minutes of roller derby action.